damn it. God damn it. God damn it.
Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, I'm your host, Frank Acom. And we are broadcasting live from the Hasselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. And what a show we have in store for you this morning. Well, it hasn't officially happened, but am I going to eat crow? 2 debates scheduled for Trump and Biden, June 27th and September 10th. June 27th, very early, as you are well aware. We're going to dive into that. Are you still convinced they're going to happen? Number one. Boy, it sure seems that. But what a change from debates as we know it. A lot of, with the former president saying anytime, anywhere, any place, whatever it was, he had to, it looks like, negotiate a little bit into Biden's favor. We have a quiet room, no audience. That hurts Trump with the punchlines. We're going to dive into all of the concessions that were made, and perhaps both sides, but more seems to play into Biden's favor. We will talk about that. We're also going to talk about, the trial starts back up today, maybe a little bit about that. Biden, inflation. We've got a lot to get to. What were your thoughts when the news broke that Trump and Biden are going to debate? CNN announced that's another thing. CNN and Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are going to be the co-hosts for the first debate on June 27th. That's going to be at 9 p.m., a late start. So that's a Thursday. There will be no live audience. That's Biden's request. Biden and Trump said they had each accepted an offer as well from ABC to hold a second debate on Tuesday, September 10th. I know former President Trump has made a big deal about being willing to debate President Biden. So I understand he may have to agree to some things he did not want to agree to. I've never been entirely sure of going to a place like CNN, historically unfriendly, if you will, to the former president. Same with ABC. I'm not really sure. There is upside, obviously. And I think the Trump campaign is thinking the upside is you get to see Biden without the teleprompter for how he really is. But you've got to remember the bar is going to be set very low by Republicans, which is a mistake. They're going to make it sound like if Biden can come out and stay awake, it'll be a big win. We do ourselves a disservice if you think that way, but also the media will push that. So it's not accept some of these terms just to get the debate started because people get to see how Biden truly is. Well, without the audience, without some of the shock factor of that audience's reaction when Trump speaks, I'm not sure if that's necessarily a positive and going into unfriendly territory with CNN and ABC. We're going to talk about it in depth. What was your thoughts when you first saw it? But first, I know we've somewhat been starting with these stories of politicians that make you realize it's very important to understand who you're voting for. I know I've said it a million times. That's our goal here on the program, is to have as many candidates on as we possibly can. Well, did you hear out of Albany, State Senator Kevin Parker? Are you familiar with him? He's a Democrat. Well, he's out of Albany. Most are. And he has been, he had to be restrained by onlookers yesterday after he aggressively shoved an Albany lobbyist. Hold on. I think we may have froze a little bit there for a second. Did we? Okay. So if I'm not sure if we froze there for a second. So State Senator Kevin Parker, he's a Democrat out of Albany. He had to be restrained by onlookers after he aggressively shoved an Albany lobbyist. Michael Carey was allegedly having an impassioned conversation with Parker before the Energy and Telecommunications Committee meeting on Wednesday. That's when the Senator Kevin Parker, grabbed the lobbyist by the chest and pushed him twice. Carey later said to the New York Post that he will be pressing harassment charges against Parker. Quote, he grabbed me with both of his hands on my shoulders and shoved me. I stumbled backwards and he grabbed and pushed me again. This was in the deposition to the police, the state police. This is what it all boils down to, though. You're saying, well, sounds like things are getting aggressive in Albany. Sure. But Kerry said he had followed Parker into the committee room before the meeting and asked him to support a piece of legislation the Albany lobbyist had been pushing. So the lobbyist, as they're referring to him as, Michael Kerry, went in to talk to State Senator Kevin Parker. This is what Kerry, the lobbyist, had been advocating for. Changes in the state's developmental disability system. Why? Because his son died while in the care of the state back in 2007. He said he tried to convey that to Parker before the Brooklyn politician launched back yelling at him, and I quote, "I don't care." That's according to not just the lobbyist, but other sources as well. After Kerry noted the senator's lack of remorse for his dead son, and he made that known to the whole room, Parker then launched at him and violently shoved him twice. People in the room then jumped to hold back New York State Senator Kevin Parker. A spokesperson for the New York State Police told the Post it's investigating the altercation. You can say it's an entitlement issue. It's that kind of a Albany and Washington type bubble. Security personnel with the Senate Sergeant at Arms and state police quickly responded to the committee room on the first floor of the state capitol. Now, this is not, if you have followed Albany for quite some time, this is not State Senator Kevin Parker's first, I guess you would say, violent incident. In 2000, that's when a judge ordered Parker to attend anger management classes. Seems like the anger management did not hold. I think we are having a little lag in the internet, so I'm sorry if it's freezing up a little bit on you this morning. Not sure. We're trying our best here. Okay. Kerry, again, who they're calling the lobbyist, said, "I wish the senator well. I hope he gets some help." A spokesman for the state Senate Democrats declined to comment on Wednesday's altercation. So just an example of why it's important to maybe know who you're voting for. Maybe the, what's the word I want to use to describe it? Not just the character of somebody that you're voting for, the background, the political leanings of someone you want to vote for. And it does take a little time. We've talked about a lot on this show to do the research, but it's well worth it so you know what you're voting for. Speaking of that, since we're talking about New York, let's stick with New York before we get into the nitty-gritty of the debate. And again, I want to hear your opinions on that. As we talk about all this, the bad news coming out of New York State, people leaving in droves. I see we came in second, according to U.S. News, second in the largest homeless population, right behind California. The most homeless people, California, 181,399. In New York, 103,200. And we talk about the issues that we've had with immigration, public safety, so many discouraging things coming out of New York. This, I know, next time we talk with Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, he's going to want to talk about this as well. New York is on a studio building spree because they want to grab a bigger slice of Los Angeles' Hollywood pie, it says here. We talked about the foolishness of taxpayers' money going to, for instance, tax cuts for Saturday Night Live. As Assemblyman Phil Palmisano points out, Saturday Night Live, which literally starts every program with Live from New York. It's Saturday Night Live, or it's Saturday night. Last year, the New York State Legislature boosted the annual film tax credit to $700 million, up from $420 million. The changes are intended to help the state better compete with other states, such as neighboring New Jersey, which also is adding studio space and pulling work away from New York. Should this be our focus? I'm going to ask you. So many people have reached out to this program throughout its, almost a year and a couple months existence. And before, when I was on radio, saying that they're thinking of moving away. They have that 5-year plan. I'm not staying in New York. Is it issues like this? What is it at a time when when we've said it so often, so many people have said it, that they're thinking of leaving, thinking of moving, or already have, and then we see $700 million of our money, taxpayer money, going to bring TV shows and movies to New York State? What is the ultimate upside? How much? I mean, I don't know the answer. This is a question I'm posing. How much revenue comes in for that? How much upside is it? Is it a PR tactic to show New York? But all that, and we talk about the doom and gloom, and now we learn, just to add insult to injury, the News 961 reports that the cost of drinking could go up in New York. Just when we need it most, folks. The new bill calls for an increase of 5 cents per bottle deposit, raising the new amount to 10 cents per bottle. The bill would also increase the price for the handling fee of the bottles to 6 cents. Quote, the purpose of this bill is to incentivize more recycling of beverage containers and thereby reducing solid waste through expansion of eligible containers for deposit and redemption under the current bottle bill. The bill would raise the deposit refund value to 10 cents, raise the handling fee to 6 cents, and improve the redemption process through implementation of grants to establish new redemption centers and for the purchase of reverse vending machines. Just so you're familiar, this proposed bill would also include wine bottles, cider bottles and cans, liquor, distilled spirit coolers, and cider to the definition of beverage. Well, there you are. It's kind of hard to believe that the current bottle bill was signed into law back in 1982. Interesting. If the proposed bottle bill would become law, it could go into effect as soon as January 1st, 2026. So there you go. Add that on top of all of our woes here in New York State. Now, we are going to talk about, when we come back from break, about the debate. I want to talk with you, get your opinions. I know a lot of people suggesting that the early June 27th debate was one way to kind of ice out Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We'll talk about it in both hours, on and off. We've got a couple other quick announcements. We're going to talk about a little bit about college campus protests a little bit later on the program as well. So stay with us. We're just getting started on this Thursday morning edition of Frankly Speaking. It is 6:13, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselsen's Hot Tub. Hesselsen's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselsen's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselsen's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselsen's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
No matter who you are or what you do, life gets busy. With all you have going on, don't let your health insurance slip through the cracks. Renewal rules have changed, which could mean losing your health insurance if you don't act. New York State of Health is here to help. Once you receive your letter from us, follow the instructions right away. Visit us online or call for personalized help and keep yourself and your family insured.
Bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need. It's never been easier or more affordable than right now to get the bathroom of your dreams. We have the best monthly programs in the industry with payments as low as $99 per month or no payments, no interest for 18 months with approved credit. The hardest part of your new bathroom is gutting and building the tub and shower. If your bathing area is old, there could be damage behind the walls and possible mold and mildew, which can be a serious safety issue. At BCI, we don't cover a problem, we fix it. Call now to get a never-clean glass-treated door with the no-track system at half off for the first 50 callers. Factory-trained, certified installers made in the USA and discounts for seniors and military. Call 800-704-1798. That's 800-704-1798.
Our beautiful view overlooking Market Street as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. I'm your host, Frank Acom. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So Trump and Biden have agreed to the June 27th and September 10th debates in what is considered kind of a traditional shakeup of debate schedules. As one viewer commented, CNN is going to stick by Biden. That's why I don't understand. Well, I do understand why Trump agreed to the debates. He painted himself into a corner essentially by saying anytime, anywhere. And I'm not. I don't think he feels that he's painted himself in the corner. He really does want anytime, anywhere. I don't necessarily like CNN. Well, and some of the other concessions that were made. Let's get to it. CNN announced that the rivals will meet 9 p.m. Thursday, June 27th. The debate will be moderated by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. There'll be no live audience, and that was one of the requests from the Biden campaign. I think that does not help Trump. I think there's something to the audience interaction with the former president that really helps him. The agreement between the two camps cuts out the nonpartisan commission on presidential debates, which is a good thing. Major party presidential nominees have squared off in debates every 4 years since 1976, but have never met earlier than September. Yeah, because as a rule, Labor Day is sort of the kickoff, so this is very early. That's one of the shocking, I think, headlines that I saw yesterday, that it was June 27th. And, you know, I'm not staying quiet on the fact that, yes, I have predicted numerous times that there would not be debates. Now, I'm not going to be stubborn about this, even though the debates have not happened yet. I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be shocked if Biden debates. There must be enough here that they believe that they gave enough, or got enough, I should say, that it's maybe worth it. And also, Biden's campaign realizes that the media will do a wonderful job of setting the bar very, very, very low on Biden. So that essentially, if he shows up, gets a coherent sentence or two out, that will be considered one of the greatest debate performances of his life, if it's not that good, or of all time, if it's okay. Biden, 81. Oh, what do you think about this? And I don't want to keep bringing up my pet peeves, but you know I've been talking about this. It's almost cringeworthy that Biden says to foreign adversaries, don't. Like this tough talking don't. And what did he say? Oh, this is the exact quote that he said. Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. This is Biden. And now he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I don't know. He thinks he's Dirty Harry. I don't know. And this was all written for him on a teleprompter. You can see that. So I don't know who thinks tough talking Biden is the new way to go in the campaign. Don't. And they always do. Don't. And now it's, well, make my day, pal. I don't think of Joe Biden as a tough guy. I know you have Corn Pop and that story, and I know he's tried to build up that resume in the past. I don't see, I mean, look, our adversaries are laughing at us, doing everything he says don't. He's shown his weakness after taking a strong stance, a stance like this, make my day, pal, for Israel, and then caving on that. So I'm not really sure if that's resonated with people, or maybe it's just because I don't know. I've made it a pet peeve of mine. I don't know. Biden then added in a separate post that he had received and accepted the CNN debate invite, teasing, over to you, Donald. As you said, anywhere, anytime, any place. And to a point, I mean, I think, and you tell me if you agree or disagree, I do think that the former president painted himself into a corner. If this could have been, and this could be Trump calling Biden's bluff, because if he didn't give in to some of these demands, Biden could have used it against him and said, see, he's scared, we're not going to do any debates. So was this actually Trump calling his bluff and saying, you know what, I know you don't want me to do this debate, but I'm going to do it anyway at CNN with no studio audience? Trump told Fox News, I'll be there, and added that he was looking forward to being in beautiful Atlanta. Crooked Joe is the worst debater I have ever faced. He can't put two sentences together. See, he's setting the bar very low. Crooked is also the worst president in the history of the United States by far. It's, boy. Let me continue. It's time for debate so that he can explain to the American people his highly destructive open border policy, new and ridiculous EV mandates, the allowance of crushing inflation, high taxes, and his really weak foreign policy, which is allowing the world to catch on fire. I am ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the two proposed times in June and September. I would strongly recommend more than two debates and, for excitement purposes, a very large venue. Although Biden is supposedly afraid of crowds, that's only because he doesn't get them. Just tell me when and I'll be there. Yeah, he doesn't get big crowds. I don't know. I haven't heard, maybe you know, are both debates without studio audience? Because I'm not sure that's helpful either. But yes, he did essentially call Biden's bluff and said, okay, I'll do it. Even though you can tell there's some things there that does not play into Trump's favor. Then Trump closed by quoting boxing announcer Michael Buffer, "Let's get ready to rumble." The quick agreement from both sides came despite a lack of prior planning. Contact was made after Biden announced his willingness to debate on radio between the two camps. So that was that softball interview with Howard Stern. But then there was silence until Biden accepted President Trump's challenge this morning. The source added there was no other attempt at contact between the two campaigns in recent weeks, but no negotiations took place. The CPD tentatively scheduled 3 debates. However, Biden wanted to face off with Trump on a more compressed schedule, campaign chair Jeffrey O'Malley Dillon wrote in a letter to the commission. Early enough to influence early voting, but not so late as to require the candidates to leave the campaign trail in the critical late September and October period. Trump's team countered by requesting 4 debates to allow voters to have maximum exposure. We propose a debate in June, a debate in July, a debate in August, and a debate in September, in addition to the vice presidential debate. Trump also fired off another Truth Social post after agreeing to the first 2 debates, saying he would take part in a 3rd debate hosted by Fox News on October 2nd and moderated by Brett Baier and Martha McCullum. The Biden team appeared to reject that idea, with O'Malley Dillon saying in a statement that President Biden made his terms clear for 2 one-on-one debates, and Donald Trump accepted those terms. No more games, no more chaos, no more debates about debates. We'll see Donald Trump on June 27th if he shows up. Okay, so what we have there is 2 debates, one so early that if damage is done, there's plenty of time to overcome it in Biden's mind. You also have, and I think you've got to give Democrats credit on this. As Republicans, we do debates on CNN, we do debates on ABC, places that are not friendly to Republicans. But when a Fox debate is thrown out there as an option, Democrats just say no. Even with the high ratings of Fox, they just say no. We could learn something from that. But it does sound like it'll just be those 2 debates. And that plays into Biden's hands as well. It shows kind of the weakness there. He would want, if Trump is so bad, like he continues to say, why would he not want to debate him more? Why would he not want to expose how great Bidenomics has been for the country while attacking Trump for his failed policies during the years of peace and prosperity? Why? In addition to the no live audience request, purportedly to avoid raucous or disruptive partisan and donors, the Biden team asked for each candidate to be equipped with microphones that automatically cut off when their time to speak runs out. Oh, that's going to sound so awkward. Now, again, this does not help Trump because that's one of Trump's skills, if you want to call it a skill, however you feel about it. But that they got him running over, getting his jabs in. There should be a firm time limit for answers and alternate turns to speak, so that the time is evenly divided and we have an exchange of views, not a spectacle of mutual interruption. A candidate's microphone should only be active when it is his turn to speak to promote adherence to the rules and orderly proceedings, read the Democratic letter. The debates will also exclude, and this is one of the reasons why so early, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and other third-party candidates. The commission would have allowed additional candidates to take the stage if they reached a minimum of 15%, but that commission is no longer a part of the conversation. Now, the 45th president's team had initially said in early April the former president would be willing to debate Biden anytime, any place, and anywhere. And you know that started to become a kind of a mantra that was up on some of the some of the projections of the various rallies that he's been at. But the CPD argued its plans had accounted for religious and federal holidays, early voting, and the dates on which individual states close their ballots. That's, again, not important. The Biden campaign piled on the CPD, saying the commission's failure yet again to schedule debates that will be meaningful to all voters, not just those who cast their ballots late in fall or election day, underscores the serious limitations of its outdated approach. Anyway, so that's a quick overview. What do you think? What do you think about the presidential debates? We are going to move on from that, but that is kind of the breaking story, and I'm going to talk about it later, probably in the 7 o'clock hour. I do want to talk a little bit about the protests, a little bit about the trial. I think we're good on New York State issues so far, but keep those waves coming in, conversations coming in, and we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Attention, if you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
Rated the hearing aids of 2023 by Forbes, the Audion Atom 2 series offers superior sound quality and functionality for a fraction of the price. For just $189 a pair, the Atom 2 features 4 different hearing modes for all types of hearing loss. It packs crystal clear sound, a nearly invisible design, and is even rechargeable.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids. They're so comfortable, I forget I'm wearing them. And the sound is amazing.
The Atom Pro 2 is our smallest hearing aid yet, featuring advanced background noise cancellation, and is the world's first hearing aid with built-in UV cleaning that kills 99% of bacteria.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed without seeing a doctor or having a hearing test.
Join over 500,000 happy customers today and get the hearing you deserve.
Call 1-800-434-9816 or go to audionhearing.com to get your pair of Audion hearing aids starting at just $189.
I say go for it.
Thursday.
I can see your 1, 2, 3, 4. Voices, can they sing or not?
Nailed it.
America's favorite guessing game returns. Then,
Could this farmer have found a wife?
it's the unforgettable reunion with unexpected guests.
I wanted you to figure it out. I just didn't think it would take you so long.
And everyone's wondering,
Are you two still together?
Tonight,
the Big Fox website is here now. WYDCTV.com. Local and national news that keeps you informed and involved. WYDCTV.com. Today's weather, up to date and in your town. WYDCTV.com. Sports news, local events, and health stories that affect you. WYDCTV.com. The Big Fox website. Your news here now. WYDCTV.com.
we are back. Thank you for joining us here on Frankly Speaking. Before we talk about the protests on college campuses, there's just a couple quick things to mention on that. If this isn't going to get your blood boiling, did you hear that Los Angeles is holding a Jane Fonda Day, citing her advocacy for social justice and environmental sustainability? Los Angeles County leaders last month declared April the 30th as Jane Fonda Day, and the backlash was immediate. Within days, politicians and members of the Vietnamese American community sharply criticized the decision to honor the actress on the date known in the Vietnamese community as Black April in commemoration of the fall of Saigon. Fonda infamously made headlines in the 70s with her staunch opposition to the Vietnam War. Just mentioning that quickly as we talk protests. Okay, anti-Israel protesters swarmed UC Irvine campus yesterday in the buildings after the encampment was shut down, after hundreds of anti-Israel protesters swarmed campus buildings and set up barricades at the University of California, Irvine. Local law enforcement agencies responded, and students were ordered to leave the area immediately. The university said that it put out a call to local law enforcement and received immediate assistance from the Irvine Police Department and Orange County Sheriff's Department. In a follow-up statement, students were told to leave area as the protest continued. Anyone currently in buildings in the vicinity of the protests are advised to exit buildings and leave the area at this time. Please disregard all previous orders to shelter in place. If able, please leave immediately and continue to avoid the protest area until further notice. What a mess. But Ricky Schlott, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, had a really good point on this. Harvard, UC Berkeley, others, they're teaching students that you win at life by being obnoxious. And that's why I think many of these students expected no repercussions. This was supposed to be something they actually got a pat on the back for. Screaming at adults, screaming at Jewish students, screaming at police. That's apparently, in today's left culture, is supposed to be rewarded, not punished. That's why you had so many complaining, like the girl that was on a hunger strike, upset that she was hungry. You have the girl who did not receive or could not walk during graduation, even though I believe she was receiving her diploma, complaining about that because she had been arrested. Well, students at Harvard and the University of California, Berkeley learned a new lesson this week. They can't get what they want in life by being obnoxious and disruptive. On Tuesday, pro-Palestinian protesters packed up their tents at Harvard, not because the school told them to, but because administrators caved to their demands. So they can, did I say can't? They can get their way in life by being obnoxious and disruptive. You've had so many of these administrators cave. California University president has actually now been suspended after agreeing to boycott Israel, because they're looking at this, and yes, the president of that university got some repercussions, but the fact of the matter is they want to cave to these demands. Number one, because they most likely agree with what they're saying, because of that academic bubble that is teaching this intolerance, this hate, this anti-Semitism. But they just don't want the trouble. They want the cash cows to continue to come on campus. They don't want the PR this is giving them. So yes, these students can get what they want in life by being obnoxious and disruptive. Because at Harvard, the students packed up their tents because administrators caved to their demands. The school capitulated, reinstating suspended students. Did you know this? At Harvard, reinstating suspended students and agreeing to conversations about establishing a Palestinian studies program and divesting the Harvard endowment from Israel. In return, student protesters democratically voted to end the encampment, which lasted 20 days on Harvard Yard. So because of that encampment, the administration at Harvard caved. Is that a university? I know it's highly held in high regard. Is that a university that you would want to, I know it's Harvard, again, that you would want to send your family member to? I think that's a fair question. If that's how, administration is saying we don't care about the Jewish students on campus that have had to deal with this intimidation. We don't care about the students whose classes and graduations and things like that were disrupted because of these protests and this obnoxious shouting of anti-Semitic statements and this destruction. We don't care about that. We don't care about those groups. All we care about is getting rid of these students from the Harvard Yard. Why? Because of the bad PR, and most likely the faculty agrees with what the students are demanding. Across the country, UC Berkeley's Free Palestine camp disbanded its 150 tent campsite on Tuesday after negotiating for a new task force which will review school investments related to, quote, weapons manufacturing, mass incarceration, and or surveillance industries. At first, it seemed laughable that protesters ever thought that they had the right to tell these schools, especially Harvard, the most prestigious and most well-endowed institution of higher education in the United States, what to do. Yeah, it was that entitlement. It was that so many people set up that kind of participation trophy generation where it's, I get what I want whenever I want. It is the entitlement. So Harvard and the grown-ups behind the scenes aren't going to stand for that, right? But it turns out student protesters were right to believe they actually run the place. That their anti-Semitic chants, their destruction, their demands, that was all not only okay, It was apparently, at the end of the day, encouraged. And that's why I said earlier on the program, earlier this week, that it's so disheartening to think that these college campuses, these protesters, these agitators, not only get their way with the faculty, they got their way when it came to foreign policy by the Biden administration with the caving and the weakening of our stance with Israel. So yes, so it's not just, to Ricky Schlot's point, it's not just Harvard and UC Berkeley. It's all the protesters who believe they've now won by being obnoxious. Campus has become centers of chaos. And this is what schools get for negotiating with terrorist sympathizers. Despite Harvard's repeated refusal to negotiate, administrators apparently acquiesced in desperation to make sure graduation goes on as planned. Cowards. Harvard out of occupied Palestine student organizer and university president Alan M. Gardner negotiated the pack-up. And just so you know, to the Harvard president, don't think for one moment your graduations are not going to still be disrupted. No, it may not be as bad as the encampments, but don't think for one moment that these people that got their way from being obnoxious don't want to prove to the whole world, and specifically to their fellow students and their loved ones, that they are the biggest woke pro-Hamas student on campus. It will get the most attention. It'll get the most likes. It'll get the, you did great out there. Nearly 24 students were placed on involuntary leaves of absence were reinstated, and among other demands, Garber agreed to facilitate a meeting between campers and members of the Corporation Committee on Shareholder Responsibility, which oversees the investment of the school's $50 billion endowment. You heard me right, $50 billion. Student demonstrators, who earlier this month unfurled a banner depicting Garber as Alan Garbage, a devil sitting on a toilet. They were seen deconstructing the encampment overnight. Now, that's someone you want to negotiate with, Mr. Garber. Real great move on this. Now, more than ever, it is crucial to do what we do our best, creating conditions for true dialogue, modeling ways to build understanding, empathy, and trust, and pursuing constructive change anchored in the rights and responsibilities we share, Garber wrote. Of course, the university will be glad to see graduation ceremonies go as planned. Again, they will be disrupted. I make that prediction. Unlike at Columbia University, where all school commencement was canceled in light of chaotic protests. Over at Berkeley, Chancellor Carol Christ indicated her intention to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. I plan to make a public statement by the end of the month, sharing my personal support for government officials' efforts to secure immediate and permanent ceasefire. Yes, just like the immediate and permanent ceasefire that was in effect on October 6th, if you recall. Such support for the plight of Palestinians, including protests, should not be conflated with hatred or anti-Semitism. They want you to ignore the images that we saw, the videos that we saw, what was being said at these rallies. These administrators, desperate not to take the necessary measures to enforce order on campus, appeased student protesters in blatant violation of university policy. No wonder kids believe they have a right to dictate what stances their school takes, how its campuses should operate, and how it invests its money. It's very much the participation trophy generation, where they get the demand, like I've said so many times, that great quote, they go to college to teach, not to learn. They can scream at the professors, they can scream at the president, and the president and the faculty, they cower. They don't want to lose their cash cows. They don't want the PR of looking like they don't support a left policy. It's lose-lose for them. They're learning that the rules, these young kids, do not apply when it comes to their activism. This time it's a pro-Palestinian encampment, but who knows what sorts of demonstrations and demands will be popping up next. Universities are setting a damaging precedent. If you can hold out long enough and be disruptive enough, you will ultimately get your way. Yes, instead of taking care of this and cracking down on these lawbreakers, these rule breakers, the administration has caved, and you will get more of this because it's like anything else. These protesters smell blood in the water, and they smell that weakness, that cowardice. So that's why we've been bringing it up so much on the program. It is only going to get worse before it gets better, but we have to take a short break. Stay with us.
When accidents happen, you want your repair done right. Bring it to Nappy's, or if undrivable, have it towed right to us. It's your choice where to take your vehicle. Nappy's has a state-of-the-art paint booth and a new and improved repair shop. Let our friendly staff of specialists help you through the process and get it done right the first time. Commit to Nappy's, family owned for 3 generations. Voted #1 auto body repair shop 17 times in the Twin Tiers.
Thank you for your business.
Insist on Nappy's Auto Body done right.
Attention care beneficiaries. This is an important message for people on Medicare. Today we are talking about Medicare Advantage plans. If you're new to Medicare, moving or losing coverage, and don't have a Medicare Advantage Part C plan, call now because there may be a Medicare Part C plan with additional benefits available in your zip code. You can call now to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan with additional benefits. Just call 800-351-6177 and a licensed insurance agent can look up your eligibility and plan options and see if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Part C plan that could save money or include additional benefits. Don't wait. You are not automatically enrolled in a Part C plan with additional benefits. If you're new to Medicare, moving or losing coverage, call for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. You won't know what plan options are available to you unless you call, so call now. The call is free. Call 800-351-6177. 800-351-6177.
Getting real video for a commercial used to be extremely expensive, but not anymore. WYDC TV Big Fox now offers the Twin Tiers amazing aerial video for your business. We do it with our state-of-the-art drone and commercially licensed aerial pilot. Beautiful HD aerial video and pictures custom-made for your commercial. Call or email now to advertise on Big Fox TV and let everyone see your business in a whole new way.
Shell Missy face off in
Why can't we watch DuckTales? Because we don't learn anything.
Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
It's the battle of twins.
Life is so confusing. I always hoped it would be easier for me when I grew up. It's gonna be all right. You were faking. Bazinga.
Young Sheldon.
Weeknights at 6:30 on
And we are back. A couple comments from viewers here on Frankly Speaking as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. CNN is hoping to help Biden deliver a Hail Mary for his campaign. I would agree. I think the media as a whole will set that bar so low for Biden that it will take very little for them to declare him the winner. And I think Trump will play into that as he has in the past, unfortunately. I'm not trying to tell Trump what to do in any way, shape, or form, but when they keep talking about how bad he's going to be, it just plays into that narrative that really Biden has to do very little. The next comment, this viewer is thinking the students that were able to attend graduation will be angry in the business world towards the protesters. Well, I'm concerned for the people that weren't protesters at Columbia, Berkeley, Harvard, wherever, where they may not have protested, but companies are going to say, I don't care. Your resume says Columbia 2024. I don't want the headache. I don't want the hassle. I don't want to do the research to see what side of the issue you were on. And now, as I've said numerous times, we're going to make this quick. It's trickling out into the real world. They have come out with essentially a blacklist, calling it a Zionist blacklist, which at the end of the day, as David Christopher Kaufman says, boosts Hamas's mission. They put celebrities, singers, authors on this list, and it's been shared all over the place on various accounts, various social media. This is horrible. It says here, according to the account, the mysterious creators behind it are planning a Zionist out of music protest in New York City this Saturday. Like their campus encampment counterparts, the organization will likely show up masked. Anonymity is a key commonality among the list makers who hide behind private X accounts, and it's a key to terrorist organizations like these groups throughout history. Maybe they will finally reveal themselves this weekend, but I'm not holding my Zionist breath, writes the author. In the case of Israel, the threats posed by Zionist lists are particularly grave. Their goal, while seemingly noble, end the bombing, feed the famished, are actually nefarious to the core. By focusing on artists accused of being, quote, pro-Israel, the list furthers the key goal of the dangerous disinformation campaign that has defined the entire post-October 7th era. Obscure, if not erase, Hamas from their massacre against Israel. Yes, that's been done at all levels. In the media, it's been done in pop culture, it's been done by the Biden administration and others, that October 7th, we forget what happened on October 7th. We don't blame Hamas for any of this. We focus our disdain at Israel. It distracts the world from the plight of the Israeli hostages and places the fate of the Gaza crisis in the hands of Israel. Israel is to blame in their minds, rather than Hamas, which could end the war in an instant. And I remind you, I know I said a lot, that there was that ceasefire on October 6th. They are about hate, these groups, naming and shaming those who don't fall in line. It would be so much easier if these people could be easily identified. Perhaps they could all wear yellow stars in the ultimate show of activist irony. To see the full potential of secretive lists and files, one must only look to Hamas itself. A recent article in the New York Times detailed the extensive surveillance network the terror group deploys against its own citizens in Gaza. Hamas apparently built files monitoring the social media accounts of young people and journalists, deploying disinformation and intimidation tactics, and refused to tolerate even a whiff of dissent from those who might disagree with its rule. Does that sound familiar? Yes, it is trickling into the real world. But we're going to move away from that topic. We've got to take another short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
If you or one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer.
How do I know if I have a case?
Call 844-292-6222 and consult with one of our attorneys to find out if the products you used are part of the lawsuit. Your eligibility will also depend on how often you use these hair products and your specific cancer diagnosis. If you regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. Call 844-292-6222.
How much will it cost to talk to an attorney?
There is no fee unless we win your case. Call 844-292-6222 for your free case review.
I am running late this morning. We got to take another break here in just a second, but a comment from a viewer, Ken, says Biden will only debate on a friendly legacy media network, so he can be given the questions weeks before the debate. With practice and medication, he will act like he did during the State of the Union. Now, you may have some viewers out there that would say, well, that's very conspiratorial, Ken. Well, I would say, look at Donna Brazile and the collusion between her and Hillary Clinton, and that was against Bernie Sanders. So yes, there's something here. First of all, Jake Tapper, Dana Bash, not a friendly environment for former President Trump. You've got the legacy media, like Ken said, of CNN, which is notorious. Think of, if you watch yesterday's program, how many headlines, how many biased articles I read to you regarding Trump and specifically the Trump trial. So it's not going to be a friendly venue for Trump. It is going to be very pro-Biden. There's going to be no audience. And if that actually sticks, like the article said, where the microphones will cut off after the time limit, this is going to sound like a mess. But Trump, I think, called Biden's bluff. I don't think Biden wanted the debates. And I think by picking CNN with Jake Tapper and all these rules at first, if Trump would have said no, Biden could have said, see, he said anytime, anywhere, but he's scared. We're not going to do any debates. So maybe Trump did call his bluff. But at the same time, there's it's an uphill battle. And those in the media, and we've got to be aware of this, those in the media, and unfortunately Trump, I think, will do this as well, will continue to set the bar so low for Biden that his performance will not need to be very high to be considered the best debate of his career. That's if he only does it right. If he's almost visibly lost or did visibly lose, but by a lot, they'll say it was the best debate of his life, hoping that you didn't watch it. If he does okay, serviceable, it'll be the best presidential debate in history or in recent memory. I can write the article already if you want me to, a month out from the, a little more than a month out from the debate, because you can read the writing on the wall. But we got to take another short break just to catch up. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, wrapping up our first hour. It's going quickly, folks. Stay with us.
We were wasting so much money. The Koala team made the whole process so easy, and we saw savings on our very first bill.
The inspection was really eye-opening.
It's a great feeling knowing that we're truly energy efficient.
Now we're finally properly insulated.
Koala is a first-class company all the way.
It's time you discover Koala Insulation.
Hi, I'm Darren with Koala Insulation of Southern Tier. Give us a call. We are fully insured and we offer veteran and military discounts.
Stop and save at GCP Discount Liquors and Wines. 1.5-liter Cavit Pinot Grigio, regularly $15.99, is on sale for $12.99. Save $2 a bottle with mail-in rebate, or $36 on a case of 6. 1.75-liter Canadian Club Whiskey on sale for $18.99. Save $5 a bottle with rebate, or $48 on a case of 6. GCP Discount Liquors and Wines in Horseheads, the best in service, selection, and price.
Getting real video for a commercial used to be extremely expensive, but not anymore. WYDC TV Big Fox now offers the Twin Tiers amazing aerial video for your business. We do it with our state-of-the-art drone and commercially licensed aerial pilot. Beautiful HD aerial video and pictures custom-made for your commercial. Call or email now to advertise on Big Fox TV and let everyone see your business in a whole new way.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking. A couple of quick things before we wrap up this hour as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. We talked about this yesterday, but cop attacking migrants in New York that got off easy because of Bragg and Biden and Democrats in general supporting lawlessness. And the New York Post editorial board says, remember, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg dragged his feet on going after the migrant cop beaters until after they'd left town, moving only when an outraged public began to make noise. His philosophy means that violent crooks get infinite free chances, even when they attack cops. And the deck is now so stacked against actual prosecution that when a few do face any consequences, they're meaningless consequences. That the attack was against police officer only amplifies the horror. New York's prosecutorial system is signaling that it's open season on cops. And the picture is just as grim nationally as well. The open border freaks driving federal immigration policy, or lack thereof, are ideological comrades of the moral morons behind New York's criminal justice reforms. Witness the woke El Paso judge who let off the hook a migrant mob that bum-rushed border fences and guards. That's why fiscal 2024 encounters are likely on pace to shatter the already record 2023 numbers, and why the chaos is set to continue with the full blessing of the president and his party. If this is protecting and defending us against enemies foreign and domestic, we'd hate to see what giving up looks like. What a great point. Now, 148 House Democrats, just to prove the point here by the New York Post, 148 House Democrats vote against a bill that would deport migrants who assault police officers. It's one of several pieces of legislation the House Republican leaders are putting up for a vote this week as part of National Police Week. The bill passed with a 265 to 148 vote. With 54, there are 54 Democrats that sided with the GOP on this. The bill is called the Detain and Deport Illegal Aliens Who Assault Cops Act and is led by Representative Jeff Van Drew. He said in February when the bill was being introduced, quote, there is no reason that an illegal alien who attacks our law enforcement should remain in our country. That shows zero respect for our rule of law or our institutions, and they will not be positive contributors to society. The bill would require illegal immigrants to be detained by federal authorities until they can be deported. It would also create a new category for migrant inadmissibility. specifically dealing with illegal immigrants who are accused of assaulting police. So 148 House Democrats, just to reiterate this, voted against a bill to deport migrants who assault police officers. So what we're seeing in Albany is obviously a much larger picture of the Democrat Party, which is this coddling of criminals, tying the hands of police officers. Now, did you see that Biden is planning an executive order? This is unbelievable. To shut down the border once crossings at the border reach 4,000 per day. But remember, he's been saying for, 3.5 years that he needs Congress to act, that he can't do anything. So how are both of these things possible at the same time? That gets a little bit confusing. The order would match a provision in the bipartisan border bill that failed to pass the Senate in February, which gave the president authority to expel migrants when border crossings reached the same daily average. The legislative proposal would have given the Homeland Security Secretary discretionary authority to carry out removals, but would have made deportations mandatory when illegal entries surpassed 5,000 per day over a 1-week period. So this could be on the back burner because obviously Biden has no strong policy that he truly believes in. At the end of the day, it's all about the votes. He was strong on Israel. He caved on Israel when he saw the protests and he saw when he saw his party turn into the party that is supporting this kind of anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas protest movement. So he caved. Same comes here. He can't do anything for 3.5 years, and now the border needs to be secured. The U.S. Border Patrol currently has more than 10,000 migrants in custody nationwide. 5 Border Patrol sectors have exceeded their migrant holding capacity, et cetera, et cetera. A spokesman for House Speaker Mike Johnson, who has repeatedly called on Biden to take action on the border, said the executive order would prove the president doesn't need Congress to pass legislation to take action on the border. But there's more to that. All it is a sick political move as we near November. And if he's going to do it, he's probably going to do it before that debate, thinking that will kind of chop Trump off at the knees. I don't think that will work. 3.5 years of this failed open border policy, and that's why immigration is number one on the priority list for voters, and that's why Democrats have been running scared. We had so many people, we had so many examples the last few days and the last few weeks of Democrats, vulnerable Democrats, running on a we need to do something now stance. Now it's been too long. Well, these same people calling the border wall silly, and the policies put in place by Trump silly. So we're going to talk about that. Well, not about that necessarily, but about Biden. I want to hear your opinion on the debates. What do you think? The debates are set, supposedly. At least there's dates and there's agreement by both Biden and Trump. So what do you think? Are you excited for it? Do you think it'll go off without a hitch? What do you think of the rules that have been agreed to? Do you think it was a little too far? Well, and nothing really Trump could do about that. So anyway, we'll take a short break and then we'll start hour number 2 in just mere moments on Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Looks like y'all got a lot of stuff here in your water.
You're never gonna believe it, but this can filter up to 60 different contaminants from your water.
It's all about cleaner drinking water.
Dude, that's good water.
And that's good water.
Now that's good water.
That's good water, eh?
No matter where you live, there's a Culligan water expert nearby. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Name something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
7 and 7:30 on Big Fox.
It's a season of sharing.
Having a good time has always been my #1 goal. I tend to get crazy. At my age, I should not be jumping up and down like that. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mama. The young ones, y'all like, we don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, in 30 years, you will.
It's the best time in daytime.
Hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We have a couple of quick announcements we'll get to in a little bit later on that I think you'll be interested in hearing. I want to remind you that we're spending the full 2 hours together this morning. The Steuben Senior Services Fund interview section of our program today is you and I talking, so keep those conversations flowing. You see the number on the bottom of your screen. If you're new to the program, you can text or leave a voicemail at any time. I'll get to the announcements a little bit later on. What do you think about the debates? If you're just joining us, if your alarm just went off, the debates that were agreed to by Biden and Trump. First one, June 27th? That's early. That has something to do with the early voting. Now, Hugh Hewitt, who I'm always a little wishy-washy on, if I'm being straight with you, but he's with Fox News, and he says, first, the good news. The Commission on Presidential Debates is dead. It ran a game rigged for Democrats for many cycles and deserved to die long ago. It is done for now. Good. More good news. President Joe Biden issued a 2-debate challenge Wednesday to Trump, which Trump instantly accepted. The former president immediately elaborated on his acceptance in a previously scheduled interview with Hugh Hewitt. So this is the interview, and I'm going to go through some of it just to give you an idea because, listen, I think it sounds like there will only be 2 debates. I do believe Trump called Biden's bluff because Biden believed that Trump would not want to debate on CNN, et cetera, et cetera. On the first subject of accepting the Biden invitation, this is what Donald Trump said. I think we should go 2 hours. Former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden are gearing up for blah, 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 blah. Okay. And a stand-up podium is important. If he wants to sit down, he wants to do things like he wants to sit down. I think a debate should be standing up. Do you think my debates with Hillary were better? Didn't you think my debates with Hillary were meaning that stand up? So this is going to be kind of tough because it's conversation, but we get a little bit of an inside look into what Trump was thinking on this. Now, this was a pre-recorded interview on Wednesday morning. But let me ask you, I like that too. But I'd be willing to take anybody. What difference does it make? I'd be willing to take anybody as a moderator, that is. But but the commission got caught cheating with me. And then it says, and I just can't read this in the way it was meant to be read. You can find it at Fox News. I thought I could pull it off a little bit better, but the idea is that he was willing to anytime, anywhere, anyplace do this debate. So to him, and I think his point is right. I mean, the moderators, no matter where he goes, have always been unfair to him. The outlet has been unfair to him. So it doesn't really surprise me that he's not concerned about that. I do think not having the audience there in the studio is a detriment to Trump. But I'm sure he will be prepared. I do like the idea of it being a standing debate. I don't imagine Biden probably agreed to that. That's some of the things I would like to know. According to Fox News, some of the restrictions that Team Biden demanded in their Trump debate offer. Here's what they're learning. Biden's campaign heavily criticized the CPD for making debates huge spectacles with large audiences. The new debates between Trump and Biden must take place in a television studio with just the candidate and the moderator present. I don't know. The debate should be conducted for the benefit of the American voters watching on television and at home, not as entertainment for an in-person audience with raucous or disruptive partisans and donors who consume valuable debate time with noisy spectacles of approval or jeering. As was the case with the original televised debates in 1960, a television studio with just the candidates and moderators is a better, more cost-efficient way to proceed. Focus solely on the interest of voters. Well, cost-efficient, that's no weird. If one thing the Biden administration knows is being cost-efficient. There is a point about the jeering in that to an extent, but I think what they're scared of is when Trump gets a cheer, it's just like why sitcoms put the laugh track behind it to get your attention, make you laugh, right? Biden's campaign says the debate must be 1 versus 1 with no third-party candidates. That doesn't surprise me. I didn't think, I've been talking about that for a long time. And by the way, if you're just joining me on the program, I'm not skirting around the fact that I didn't believe there would be debates. I didn't. And I will accept the thriller debates when I see them, and that's not a conspiracy. I don't think they're not going to go off. I'm shocked. I don't see a lot of upside for Biden, even with all of these caveats put into place. But at the same time, the bar will be set so low that Biden will be deemed the winner, really, if he just shows up. But continuing here, the debates should be one-on-one, allowing voters to compare the only two candidates with any statistical chance of prevailing in the Electoral College, and not squandering debate time on candidates with no prospect of becoming president. Kennedy condemned the requirement in a post on X, accusing both Trump and Biden of colluding to block him from the debate stage. Now, Biden's demands limit the number of major news outlets that can host a 2024 presidential debate. It should be hosted by any broadcast organization that hosted a Republican primary debate in 2016, in which Donald Trump participated, and a Democrat primary debate in 2020, in which Biden participated. So neither campaign can assert that the sponsoring organization is obviously unacceptable. If both candidates have previously debated on their airwaves, then neither could object to such venue. This rule limits the networks that could host the debate to CNN, ABC, CBS, or Telemundo. How convenient was that rule for Biden to, of course, it was the people behind the scenes, to kind of manipulate that so he only had those four choices. Biden's campaign blasted the CPD for allowing extensive crosstalk and interruptions. They now demand that both candidates' microphones be muted once the allotted speaking time expires. But wasn't it Biden who last go around in the debates just stopped talking? So he's not going to have any issue with this. He was very awkward at times, almost like losing his train of thought and just stopping. The letter to the CPD criticizes the organization for being unwilling and unable to enforce the rules in the 2020 debates. The result was far from, indeed entirely consistent with, the orderly and informative process that voters deserve in 2020 and should be able to expect in 2024. Trump has accepted Biden's debate offer despite the restrictions, however, and their first encounter will be on the 27th of June on CNN. So he even agreed to the microphone. He agreed to no audience. Did he get any, out of curiosity, I know he had to do any time, any place, anywhere. So did he get any concessions? Is it going to be stand-up? I don't think so. CNN's going to set those restrictions. And what they're going to say is, let's make this best for Biden. So it'll be sitting down. It'll be kind of a casual debate like we've seen in the past. I don't believe the rules will be followed. I do believe that CNN will make sure the deck is stacked in Biden's favor and in ways to, because it's very, optically, it'd be very easy to control the message without a studio audience to know when you're supposed to be excited about what Biden said and when you're supposed to hate what Trump said. So all of that's very interesting. I'd love to hear what you think of the debates. Is it anything that could change your opinion? I don't think so. I think most people have made up their mind, but it's still an important part of the process. And one that I did not, again, full disclosure, I did not believe was going to happen. A comment from a viewer: I'm seeing this debate as flat and almost boring, with the only excitement being when the mics get cut off automatically. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think Biden here, his campaign is making a concerted effort and to their betterment. I mean, this is a smart move by Biden's campaign to make it boring, maybe not as watchable, not as exciting, because those things, when it gets exciting, are always in Trump's favor. I also think that if you keep it kind of boring, again, with the low bar being set for him, he doesn't have to have a great performance for him to be declared a winner. I'm not exaggerating when I feel very confident that I could write the article a little over a month in advance of the at least general outline of what they'll say about Biden's performance, which will be that depending on the level of how he performed, if he did really bad and Trump clearly beat him, they'll still say he pulled out that performance, the best debate performance when he needed it most, the best debate performance of his career. And if he did just okay, average, nothing really to take away, nothing, they'll say it's probably one of the best debates in presidential history. That's what they do with the State of the Union too. It's so predictable. So all eyes of the world will be on CNN supposedly on June 27th. Whether or not the excitement's there. I'm not sure. Did you see what Romney had to say about it? Well, we'll talk about that when we come back. I don't want to run late like I did the last hour. We've got a lot to talk about. I know if I'm mentioning Romney, you know it's me going to be negative on him, so keep that in mind. We do have a couple announcements that I'm going to make after this break, so stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Coons sit and sleep in Corning. Hey, did you know that Coons has been in business since 1955? Wow, that's going on 70 years. And did you know that Coons is still family owned and operated? Really? That's 3 generations. Way to go, Steve. Did you also know that their salespeople are non-commissioned and they offer delivery and financing? That's awesome. So why do they want you to shop and compare then? Because they are confident that you won't find a better deal.
Guaranteed.
Coons sit and sleep in Corning.
Shop and compare.
My entire practice is focused and centered around St. James Hospital in Hornell. We see a lot of joint pain from hips, shoulders, and knees, whether you're a weekend warrior or even a 80 to 90-year-old who just wants to stay active and keep walking a couple blocks in their neighborhood. I want to spend the time to connect, to really hear you and understand why you've come to visit me to seek treatment. It drives me to be the best physician I can be so that you can go back and do the things that you want to do in life.
Race car drivers change lanes very fast, but with no outside mirrors. How come they don't crash? Introducing Angel View, the new wide-angle mirror that reduces blind spots. Angel View simply snaps over your car's rear view mirror, giving you a 160-degree view behind you. Just look at the difference. Look, ordinary rear view mirrors are small and flat, but Angel View has a huge mirror with curved glass. This convex shape allows you to see both blind spots with one glance. And with our Pro Edition special coating, it's anti-glare at night. Get your Angel View now for just $19.99. But wait, Angel View may be discontinued. Due to rising costs, Angel View is stopping manufacturing effective immediately. Once the current inventory is gone, it's gone forever. Order now.
Call 1-800-897-0371 or visit getangelview.com. Order now.
I say go for it.
Thursday.
I can see your
1, 2, 3, 4. Voices, can they sing or not?
Nailed it.
America's favorite guessing game returns. Then,
could this farmer have found a wife?
It's the unforgettable reunion with unexpected guests.
I wanted you to figure it out. I just didn't think it would take you so long.
And everyone's wondering,
are you two still together?
Tonight. And we are back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. We have a lot of comments coming in. We're going to get to those in just a moment. Wow, a lot of comments coming in. Keep them coming in. I love it. Okay, a couple of quick announcements before. First of all, if you've never been to this, I highly recommend it. And it's a tough one. But coming up, it's the 9th annual Law Enforcement Memorial Service. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Steuben County Sheriff's Office, Memorial Park. That's 7007 Rumsey Street Extension in Bath. And it's held to commemorate the officers, deputies, and troopers who made the ultimate sacrifice for the safety of their communities in Steuben County and the 6 surrounding counties. You're, of course, invited to attend. Speakers will include Congressman Langworthy, former Congressman Joe Sempolinski, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, Assemblyman Barnes, I always have trouble with their name, sorry, Barnes, Steuben Legislative Chair Kelly Fitzpatrick, and Sheriff Allard. Assemblyman Burns. I don't know why the spelling always gets me. The Sheriff's Office Honor Guard will present, this is where it gets tough. The Sheriff's Office Honor Guard will present the colors. A Hammond Sports student will sing the national anthem. Taps will be played. A 21-gun salute will be offered by the Corning American Legion and VFW ceremonial drill team. And Amazing Grace will be played on the bagpipes. So that is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mark your calendar. Another quick thing, just as a side note before we get into everyone's comments here. If you have a chance this morning, check out the Corning Leader or the Elmira Star Gazette. There's an interesting piece. I know I mentioned this on the program about paying tribute to Dwayne Eddy here in Corning, and there's a group of us that have been formed to get something to kind of secure his legacy here in Corning, if you see the picture there. So I didn't go into immense detail on the program about it, but it's going really well, and you'll find out a little bit in that article if you are interested in the leader. Okay, let's go to the comments. If anyone thinks that the gag order in place on Trump and his court case is something, what do you think it'll be like during the debate? There'll be no captive audience because there's more people that can't stand Biden than would ever be a part of heckling Trump. People have to remember Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party. It's all fixed on how, I don't know, that last sentence got a little confusing, but the Democrat Party is all fixed on how to control people's lives, whereas Republicans want people to live their lives. Next comment from a different viewer. Frank, I still believe that Biden won't be the Democrats' presidential candidate. At best, he will do one debate, which is to buy time, and then drop out right before the DNC, right before the convention. Next up, a presidential debate would be must-see TV, but I agree with you. I'll believe it when I see it. All I can see is that old guy, Jeff Dunham's puppet, with someone operating Joe's strings. And finally, from a different viewer, yes, they're coming in fast and furious. Do you think CNN will give the Biden team the questions to be asked ahead of the debate? Well, CNN has a history of that. I'm not a conspiracy theory type person, but it's not even a conspiracy theory to know that Donna Brazile, who later became, after leaving CNN, later became the head of the Democratic Party. Democratic, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank there of her official title, but she gave questions to Hillary Clinton before a CNN debate when she worked for CNN to help her against Bernie Sanders, because that's when Bernie Sanders was getting so much traction. Now, we knew the fix was in overall. But yeah, so CNN has a history, and Donna Brazile and the Democrat Party have a history of the collusion with the media. So it would not surprise me if there's at least not a outline of questions that will be asked, so that, as always, as we've seen with the State of the Union, heavy memorization, heavy emphasis on when to put in certain laugh lines, when to put in certain comments, asides. It will be well scripted. And again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if you look at history, that has been done before. Speaking of media bias, real quick, we're going to get back to the debates. Did you see this at Politico? Politico was actually forced to change their headline because they were talking about the Maryland Senate race. The news website reported about the primary where Republican Larry Hogan and Democrat Angela Alsobrooks emerged as the winner of their party primaries. Okay, so that was the breaking story. Republican Larry Hogan won the Republican primary. Democrat Angela Alsobrooks won the Democrat primary. So now they go on to the general election. Politico's update on the results featured a headline that spotlighted Alsobrooks potentially being the first black senator from Maryland. This is the headline from Politico, if you want to know what I'm talking about when we talk about media bias. Quote, Larry Hogan is standing between Angela Alsobrooks and history. And the Democrats try to laugh at conservatives. Oh, you're always talking about media bias. And what about the conservatives? They have education. They have the media. Larry Hogan is standing between Angela Alsobrooks and history. Since the article's release, Politico updated the headline to read, Angela Alsobrooks won a messy Senate primary. Now she takes on Larry Hogan. They didn't make any comment as to why they changed the headline. In a comment, the Fox News Digital Politico Communications Director Melissa Cook said, headlines are regularly A and B tested and switched on a rotation based on a number of factors, including engagement. She also explained that there is no editor's note in the new article because both headlines accurately reflect the piece itself. Wow. So nothing wrong here. Well, listen, I know I mentioned it yesterday, but the New York Times essentially admitting that they no longer have to be fair. They no longer have to be neutral in any way when it comes to Trump. So what's to say against any Republican, really, right? If they've deemed Trump and Republicans a threat to democracy, as they have, then what's to stop them from ever reporting positive or fairly for Republicans? Anyway, back to the debates. Mitt Romney, I know. Mitt Romney got his few talking points in. where was he at? MSNBC. Seems about right, doesn't it? Mitt Romney wanting to be liked by those that hated him so much, so much when he ran for president. Fierce Trump critic Mitt Romney voiced bewilderment at why President Biden didn't pardon his predecessor as soon as the federal indictments came down. Mitt Romney saying he would have fought like crazy to keep them from moving forward. What does that mean? Had I been President Biden, when the Justice Department brought on indictments, I would have immediately pardoned Trump. Meaning, he said pardon him, but pardon Trump. Because it makes me, President Biden, the big guy, and the person I pardoned, a little guy. There may be a point there. I also think it would have shown that Biden's campaign or Biden's cabinet would have been smart enough to realize that this lawfare actually benefits Trump in the long run when it comes to people saying what the Democrat Party is doing here and the deep state is doing here is wrong. It's weaponizing the judicial system. But I'll continue. I don't want to go through all of what he had to say. But Romney also contended that Biden made an enormous error by not pressuring Alvin Bragg against plowing ahead with charges for the hush money case. He should have fought like crazy to keep this prosecution from going forward. It's a win-win for Donald Trump. Immediately after Bragg slapped charges against Trump, Romney quickly said that the New York prosecutors has stretched to reach felony criminal charges in order to fit a political agenda. Now, keep in mind, we're getting talking points, or we're getting, I should say we are. Biden is getting help from a man who lost president, who never won, president who had to carpet bag and move to Utah to win Senate. It was really the reason, the framework, his decision for healthcare in Massachusetts was a decision, or was the outline used for Obamacare. But I'll continue. He said, I think it's a terrible fault for our country to see people attacking our legal system. That's an enormous mistake. I think it's also demeaning for people to quite apparently try and run for vice president by donning the red tie and standing outside the courthouse. It's just, I felt awkward. It felt awkward. Oh, would you say, Mr. Romney, that it felt as awkward as when you campaigned against Trump, releasing that speech essentially saying vote for Hillary Clinton? Then when Trump wins, you beg to be Secretary of State in that infamous, really, that awkward picture of you at dinner. And then maybe one of the reasons why he's so, I don't know, jilted is because Trump didn't take him on as Secretary of State. So it felt awkward to see people stand outside the courthouse defending the former president of the United States because they may want to be VP. But it wasn't awkward for you to have that awkward dinner. I mean, I know I'm using awkward a lot. Having that dinner with Trump begging to be Secretary of State. I wonder where that, in what order would you put those two? The people standing outside the courthouse or Romney's begging for Secretary of State? But he told reporters it's difficult to watch his colleagues do that. He also, I don't know why I bring it up, Romney, just to make you mad, I suppose. He made another comment about the debates. We'll talk about it in just a second, but I am running late. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox.
Your Elmira Pioneers are back for another great season of baseball. Home opening game is Friday, May 31st at 6:30. Hilliard Corporation and Southern Tier Custom Fabricators present Fireworks Night, Friday, May 31st. Get your tickets early. Call 607-734-2690. Elmira Pioneers, a baseball tradition since 1888. Fireworks, fireworks, fireworks!
You just to get in the seat of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Not because of how easy it is to use, or because of our expert dealers. Not even because it has implements for every job. You just have to get in the seat, because breaking ground on your dream home feels pretty great.
It's an inventory clearance event at Lindsay Equipment. Get 0% financing for 84 months and $1,000 off select John Deere compact tractors.
You can tear your old statements and bills, but thieves use this information to steal your identity. Don't be a victim. Get the ID Police, the new ink roller that encrypts all your old documents. So before you throw it out, just roll it on, and your information is gone, both on the front and through the back, even if the paper is held up to the light. Even your medical information is safe with the ID Police. So block it out before you throw it out. Order now and get your ID Police for as low as $9.99 and get free shipping too. This offer is not available on Amazon, so call or click now to get your ID Police for as low as $9.99 with free shipping. Order now.
Call 1-800-898-1002. That's 1-800-898-1002 or visit getidpolice.com. So call 1-800-898-1002. Order now.
Shell Missy face off in
Why can't we watch DuckTales? Because we don't learn anything.
Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
Is it working? Are you feeling motivated? Very.
It's the battle of twins.
Life is so confusing. I always hoped it would be easier for me when I grew up. It's gonna be all right. You were faking. Bazinga.
Young Sheldon. Weeknights at 6:30 on Big.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I wanted to remind you, we've got some great guests coming up, but this morning we're going to be talking, it's basically an interview between you and me as you continue those comments coming in during the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of our program. So Mitt Romney, who I guess has no self-awareness that he finds it awkward the potential VP candidates are out at the trial. I guess not remembering the time that he was just begging for Secretary of State at that dinner. But he also said that he believes the debates are going to be entertaining and informative. He said, like the two old guys on the Muppets. Do you remember? Really relevant throwback there. Romney referring to Statler and Waldorf. I'm tongue twisting today. Waldorf. Where they used to bicker back and forth in the balcony. Anyway, he also said, I think people have very low expectations as to what President Biden will do. I think they have much higher expectations about President Trump and his competitiveness. Now, I have interacted with President Biden, and I find that we have had good exchanges, and he's capable. And I like the man, Romney said. I know President Trump. Yeah, because you had that dinner with him. I watch him at his rallies. He seems energetic and forceful, but rallies are kind of easy. You've got a cheering crowd and you've got teleprompters you can read. So how will they do in person? I don't know the answer to that, but I think America will be watching. I do think having no audience is going to make this very, very awkward. I unfortunately would say that I do believe that the bar is being set very, very low for Biden. And with that being the case, it gives the media an excuse to say that he did a wonderful job no matter what. But it does sound as if RFK Jr. has been booted from the June 27th debate. They're not happy about it, but CNN put together how Biden and Trump agreed on where and when to disagree. But it sounds like a lot of it was boiled down. They didn't want to have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. there. What got the ball rolling is the Howard Stern interview, which was a pathetic interview. No real substance there. It was just softballs thrown at President Biden. Top members of the Biden's team has long harbored reservations about the commission on presidential debates, so they wanted to kind of sidestep that. Even after accepting in short order the invitation from CNN and ABC, neither campaign sounded entirely sure the debates would actually occur. The skepticism reflected the logistical tripwires and political considerations that could still forestall an eventual debate. Quote, we'll see Donald Trump on June 27th in Atlanta if he shows up, O'Malley Dillon said, the campaign spokesperson for Biden. And Trump told Hugh Hewitt, I wonder whether or not he shows up. Again, I know I've said it all program. I have not been convinced that there would be a debate, so I'm curious if this goes off without a hitch. There's a lot of things that can play along into this. Now, Laura Trump, who is the Republican National Committee co-chair, and Trump is her father-in-law, already has agreed, or has already called the debates rigged. And there's an argument to be made there in the sense of how much was given into Biden, how many things play into Biden's hands, like the microphones cutting out, the no audience, et cetera, et cetera. Sean Hannity spent the first 20 minutes of his show railing against the upcoming debates while demanding changes such as no notes, no teleprompters, to the format agreed to by Trump, who has said last month he would debate Biden anytime, any place. We'll do it any way you want, Joe. And that's really kind of, let's face it, Trump painted himself into a corner there, and I think what he had to do was call Biden's bluff. I'm sure Biden would have loved to say no, or would have loved to have Trump say no, because Biden chose CNN and he chose all these rules. And if Trump said no, he'd say, see, he was a coward. He never likes debate. He lost to me twice, like he said. He wouldn't dare debate fellow Republicans. So Trump called his bluff. There's still plenty of time to do some negotiation. Laura Trump joined Hannity and said her father-in-law called their bluff. Oh, hey, she used the same term. He called their bluff. The scales are always tipped against the former president, but this is the thing. They're trying to collude, said Hannity. The media mob and Joe Biden, they dictate all the conditions, all the rules, and Donald Trump gets no say? Sorry, that's not how it's ever worked, and that's not fair. Americans will see right through it. Hannity went on to criticize Jake Tapper, who will be one of the moderators. It can't work like that here. It's bad enough he's agreed to go on 2 liberal networks. And Laura Trump said, I think you're correct. What Donald Trump has said is that he wants more debates. But that's the thing. Biden has already said, his campaign spokesperson has already said, at least this is what they've signaled, what I've read, is that these are the only 2 debates. It's over. These 2, with Biden's rules in effect, are the only 2 debates there'll be. So Laura Trump continued, it's rigged so heavily in Joe Biden's favor, but everything always is. You've got Hollywood against Donald Trump. You've got the music industry against Donald Trump. Mainstream media. Despite that, even the judicial system at this point, he is beating Joe Biden in every poll out there. It's amazing to see. So if Joe Biden shows up on June 27th and doesn't come up with an excuse like he has to wash his hair or something, I have full confidence that Donald Trump will outperform him. So there's still time. I mean, Trump called his bluff. Maybe they'll end up saying, yeah, we don't want to give him the platform. You know, that's been my theory this whole time, that he will say, well, all these things Trump said, I can't give him that platform. It's not too late for that. They could say that over anything that Trump says on Twitter. The media does it all the time. Yes, thank you for sending me a picture of the Muppets. I remember them great. They were hilarious. So, we got some other comments, and I do have to take a break here. We'll try to go through as many as I can when we get back. Are you excited about the debates? What do you think? And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you fall on. Are you excited over them? Kind of shrug your shoulders? What do you think Biden's performance will be like? What do you think Trump's performance will be like? Do you agree with me that I believe the bar is being set too low for Biden, the Trump campaign did during the State of the Union? Set it so low that you really didn't have to have any kind of real performance to be considered a great performance. I think and it's not just Trump's fault for setting that bar low. I'm not blaming Trump. It's the media is going to set it that low because they know it plays into Biden's hands. So I think that's going to be a major factor in this too. So please continue weighing in. As I mentioned, this is our conversation back and forth, the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of the program. We're going to be talking to a representative on tomorrow's program. Actually, I think that's Monday's program about the Steuben Senior Services Fund. But I'll keep you updated on that later on. We've got so many comments coming in. Let me take a short break so I can play some catch up. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
I'm Marianne Quirk. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can hack your information without you even knowing. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash protected. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from stealing your info. It's ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. With the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to fit your additional cards and cash. Call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-654-6604. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-654-6604. Order now.
Something with a diamond in it.
Diamondback rattlesnake.
It's in the name. Name a low-calorie food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Watch it weeknights. Share it the next day.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Share in the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
7 and 7:30 on.
And we are back with Frankly Speaking, broadcasting live from the Hasselson studio. I'm your host, Frank Agam. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's go through some of the comments from viewers. If Biden passed away during the debate, the media would still say he won. No matter what happens, the media will say Biden won. They also won't have fact checkers because their computers would disintegrate. Here's a different comment from a different viewer. Why would they bother changing the tactics that they've been using during his trial? They use the same battle plan no matter what. I'd be shocked if Biden doesn't bring up the fact that he's on trial. Yeah, I think he will bring that up because if you look at the post that he made about debating Trump with that awkward, I know it's my pet peeve, but that awkward, make my day, pal. It's just like his don't. It's just so... Ugh. Anyway, so during that, he said, I understand you're free on Wednesdays. That, of course, was a dig that the trial is off on Wednesdays. So, yes, I believe he will definitely bring it up. Nothing to debate, says another viewer. Go Trump. And then the final comment, which leads me into my next topic. I'm happy that Trump has support from the Republicans at his trial. And that's in reference to Mitt Romney saying he found it awkward that some of these people vying for vice presidential nod from Trump, that they are at the trial. Romney says that's very awkward, hoping that we all forget about the awkward dinner he had and now infamous picture of when he was begging for Secretary of State from a man that he told all of us we shouldn't vote for. Then when he won, unlike Romney, because Romney didn't win president, Donald Trump won president, and then Romney begs for Secretary of State. Anyway, I'm happy that Trump has support from the Republicans at his trial. It shows a little unity for a change. Very good point. When Trump asked for a little help, help sorting out the last election results, Republicans scattered like rats under a flashlight. Thank you for the comments. Miranda Devine says, the newest version of Donald Trump's apprentice plays out at the hush money trial with the VP candidates lining up. I think that was very clever. I like Miranda Devine. Very clever. It is very much apprentice-like. A parade of contestants has shown up for the new series of The Apprentice at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, and Florida Representative Byron Donalds all starred in this week's episode in which contestants vie to be Donald Trump's running mate as he endures the indignities of Manhattan DA Bragg's hush money trial. Trump said to reporters, I do have a lot of surrogates, and they're speaking very beautifully. In previous episodes, I like how Miranda Devine is doing this, they've gone to Mar-a-Lago to audition for the role of vice presidential candidate or appeared on television with pithy attacks on lawfare. Burgum shot the #1 favorite in bookmakers' rankings after he appeared at that rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. I will say, that was quite a big takeaway for me, because we talked about, not the shock value, but that's not even the right term, but Doug Burgum was not on my list of who I was thinking that Trump may be considering. That doesn't mean anything. He just wasn't on my radar. So when he came up, gave some of these interviews, and then was at that rally with over 100,000 people, it piqued, I think, I'm not going to speak for all of you, but piqued our interest if he's not on the short list. Well, according to Miranda Devine, we knew he was on the short list, but at the top of the short list, as Miranda Devine is saying, he's number one in bookmakers' rankings now. But as a fan of the original NBC series, billed as the ultimate job interview, anyone who watched it will know the winner's not always evident halfway through a season. Sometimes it was the person you least expected or a dark horse you hadn't noticed. And I think there's been a lot of comments, and myself included, that it would not surprise me if it is someone we were not prepared for. And prepared is maybe the wrong word. I don't mean that in a biased way. It's someone we did not expect. Episodes ended with Trump eliminating one contestant from the competition with the words, "You're fired." So far, only 2 contestants have become eligible for the famous catchphrase. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem crashed and burned after boasting in her new Pick Me memoir that she shot her dog. Trump saying, that's a tough story. Having to retract an improbable anecdote about staring down Kim Jong-un and then canceling her book tour altogether. The next up on the fired list, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley's sin was not dropping out of the primary earlier and not endorsing Trump. Nikki Haley is not under consideration for the VP slot, but I wish her well, Trump posted. The season's prize is extra special. Not only does the winner get to be VP, but they will also begin running for president in just 2 years since Trump is limited to one final term. So the field is wide and competition is stiff, and Trump genuinely doesn't seem to have made up his mind. While he has been urged to choose a woman or a black candidate to boost his appeal to those groups, he has told friends he does not care about demographics as long as he can find the right person. He's believed to be looking for somebody who can help him get elected, raise or donate lots of cash, ideally from a swing state, is loyal, and can be a great president to carry on his legacy for another 8 years. He also has a showman's eye for politics, so the perfect person has to present well. Or for optics, I'm sorry. None fulfills all the criteria, so Trump continues to take advice. But out of the glare of the cameras, a couple of phenomenal dark horse contestants quietly strutted their stuff in New York this week. Pressing the flesh with Republican donors, Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo both have expressed a willingness to serve in a second Trump term. Of the two, Hagerty seems the most probable VP pick. Pompeo is more likely to return to a successful role in the Trump administration where he oversaw the Abraham Accords, took out the father of the roadside bomb, Iranian General Soleimani, and managed to keep a lid on world conflict. Hagerty, 64, a successful businessman before he became Trump's ambassador to Japan and successfully wrangled a tough trade deal, satisfies all of Trump's criteria, except he's from a safe red state. Apart from that, he is the perfect apprentice president. The son of a road construction worker and the first male in his family to attend college, the self-made multimillionaire, has a beautiful wife and 4 photogenic children, and would blitz the VP's responsibilities, starting with running the transition. Interesting. Sounds like Miranda Devine's really liking. In terms of competence, you can hardly find a bigger contrast to Kamala Harris. Oh, interesting point. Yeah, so she seems to be really liking Hagerty. Interesting. Trump doesn't appear to be in any hurry to choose a winner, but you can bet Hagerty will end up near the top of the list. Another thing, if you're not familiar, Miranda Devine does a really good job at the New York Post. She says that, so she jumps around on a couple different topics here, and she said definition of lawfare. Democrats and their pet witnesses at Wednesday's House Judiciary Committee hearing into the use of lawfare as a political weapon pretended that they didn't know what lawfare was. Representative Kamak provided them with a timely example. Quote, traditionally, in a successful political operation, you want to drain your opponent's resources, drive up their negatives in the polls, and you want to keep them from engaging with voters. What better way to do that than to charge your opponent with 91 counts, force them to spend millions on legal defense, and tie them up in court to keep them off the campaign trail? That's Lawfare 101. What a great line. I just wanted to pass that along to you. One other thing. When former federal prosecutor Bob Costello testified before Congress on Wednesday about the lawfare against Donald Trump, he pointed out the fishy fact that acting judge Juan Merchant is presiding over 3 Trump-related cases in Manhattan that are supposed to be randomly assigned. Judge Merchant has had all these cases. And by the way, when he finishes with the Donald Trump case, Steve Bannon is next. Out of all the judges in New York County, somehow they keep coming up with the same judge. Coincidence? I don't believe in them. Wow. That I was not aware of that fact. Tell me the red flags don't pop up there. We got to take another short break. Stay with us. Wow, this program is moving fast, isn't it? We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Picnic Pizza. Dine in, carry out, or we deliver. Call Big Flats or Horseheads.
Wow, you found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Could this farmer have found a wife?
Thursday, it's the unforgettable reunion with unexpected guests.
I wanted you to figure it out. I just didn't think it would take you so long.
Big surprises.
I'm going to bring out Megan and Melody.
And everybody's wondering,
are you two still together?
Tonight. And we are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Comment from a viewer. Swing state. Yes, swing state is where they're thinking about the VP. Obviously, that would be a bonus if you could pick your VP from a swing state. Maybe a VP from New Jersey. Well, he did get the great crowds there, didn't he? He said he's going to win New Jersey. Were you thinking Bob Menendez? Maybe no. No, probably not. That would be a Trump-type play from left field. And we say left field. Who knows? Who knows who Trump's going to pick? I think it's all us having a little fun with the mind games here, who we'd like to see. Where do I want to go from here? Because we don't have a lot of time. Michael Cohen returns today as the final witness in Bragg's criminal prosecution of Trump. So, though it's almost at the end of this spectacle, there's still room for fireworks, and there's 3 things to watch, according to Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy says he had commented about Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former lawyer, as self-described fixer, is a two-edged sword for the former president's defense to the charges brought by Bragg. Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, who is conducting the cross-examination, needs to do enough damage to Cohen's credibility between Cohen's perjury and frauds, some ridiculous elements of his story, like why he covertly recorded Trump, and his obsessive bias against Trump. The defense can argue to the jury that it would be irresponsible to convict someone based on Cohen's testimony. On the other hand, Blanche has to bear in mind that Cohen is a central role because he was Trump's guy. Okay. Number 1, things to expect today, and if the trial continues, and as the trial continues into next week. The retainer agreement. Bragg's allegation that Cohen's invoices are false, as Cohen testified they were, is based on Cohen's testimony that A, there was actually no retainer agreement, and B, on the monthly payments of $35,000 were really for reimbursement for the Stormy Daniels NDA in 2016, not, as the invoice suggests, ongoing legal work in 2017. This story is collapsing. Retainers do not have to be in writing, so the fact that there isn't a written retainer does not settle the question of whether Trump retained Cohen as a lawyer after 2016. Cohen has now admitted that it was agreed that he could represent himself in 2017 as the president's private lawyer, and he admits that he did legal work for Trump in 2017 and 18. Not a lot, but some. Clients often have a retainer agreement not to pay for ongoing work, but to pay for the lawyer's availability if something comes up. And it's obvious that the 2017 installment payments, which totaled $420,000, were about more than the $130,000 for Stormy Daniels' NDA. They included a bonus, which, regardless of what Cohen says, could be for past work or future availability. To summarize then, Cohen was holding himself out as Trump's lawyer throughout 2017. He was available to work for Trump whenever asked, and he did in fact do lawyer work for him in 2017 and 2018. And the Trump organization knew it was paying for more than the Stormy Daniels NDA. So how could it be fraudulently false for the Trump organization's CFO to refer to payments to Cohen as pursuant to a retainer? Cohen did the things a retained lawyer does. Next, Robert Costello. Costello is a savvy New York defense lawyer who represented Cohen at the start of the federal investigation. He has been released from his attorney-client confidentiality obligation. On Tuesday, Costello testified before a House committee, asserting that Cohen's testimony was rife with lies. A claim Costello says he can back up with emails, texts, etc. Costello also testified to the effect in the grand jury. I expect Blanche will use Costello's house and grand jury testimony in attacking Cohen on cross-examination. Could Costello end up being a witness if there's a defense case? Up until now, I've surmised that there would be no defense case, and that Team Trump would rely on the weakness of the prosecutor's case. But Costello is an option for the defense. And finally, federal campaign finance. Team Trump should renew its request to call former FEC official Bradley Smith as an expert witness in the defense case to explain why NDAs are not actionable campaign expenditures under federal law. Well, there you go. Especially given that Bragg has no authority to enforce federal law and Merchant has no expertise in it, shouldn't the jury hear from at least one person who actually knows something about the subject? The end of the trial is nearing, but there's still twists and turns to play out. That got a little long-winded, so we got to take a break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking.
I'm Marianne Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
I'm Jonathan Lawson. If you're 50 to 85, please listen closely. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. It's a rate lock for your life insurance that guarantees that once you're insured, your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. Many policies you see don't have one, but you can get a lifetime rate lock from Colonial Penn. This plan was designed for people on a fixed income with coverage options that start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate is locked in for life. Coverage can never be canceled, and your acceptance is guaranteed. You cannot be turned down because of your health. See for yourself. Call for an information kit and gift. Both are free with no obligation.
Call 1-800-781-9990 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-781-9990. 1-800-781-9990.
And we're back. Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. I didn't mention this. Chinese President Xi lauds China-Russia ties as Putin lands in Beijing. Chinese President Xi Jinping pledged to work with counterpart Vladimir Putin to rejuvenate their countries as the pair started a day of talks in Beijing, saying China would always be a good partner of Russia. We talked about the new... Well, their goal to be superpowers, and you add Iran into there. A couple of quick... Wow, we are out of time. Hey, what is it with Washington and Ziploc bags of cocaine? We know there was one found in the White House. Couldn't do a lot of tests on it, though, for some reason. But they found one yesterday at the headquarters building, Capitol Police headquarters building. The United States Capitol Police announced on Wednesday that they are investigating a Ziploc bag left inside the agency's headquarters that contained a small amount of cocaine. In a statement, the USCP explained that the 1-inch by 1-inch Ziploc bag had been found on the floor of a hallway located on the second floor of the building in an area that is heavily trafficked. The residue was field tested and came back positive for cocaine. The USCP Investigation Division has opened an investigation which will include further testing, including DNA testing on the baggie. I can't remember. I know they didn't really do any kind of actual investigation into the one found at the White House. But was there DNA testing? I can't remember. I'm not asking and any other reason, but the squeaky. The chair's acting all weird. Biden plans executive order to shut down the border once crossings has reached 4,000 per day. I mentioned that earlier. These are just some of the things I want to make sure that I re-highlight. The other topic worth mentioning is the debate. Thank you for all the comments on the debate. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm still not fully convinced, like the one viewer said, and like I've been saying this morning. I'll see it when I believe it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just don't see... I see a lot of upside for Biden in the sense of the rules that they got through. Trump called their bluff, saying, okay, I said anytime, anywhere, any place, fine. Let's do it. And now, will that signal to Biden, oh, darn it, that he accepted? Now what do we do? There could be some of that, though, again, I don't put past CNN helping hone his message for him. Inflation rates show Biden is gaslighting Americans on the economy. Inflation eased a tiny bit in the latest consumer price index numbers. Bad news, most other indicators suggest more trouble, not less ahead. CPI for April came in at 3.4% higher than a year ago, easing from March 3.5% spike. But we're still at levels well above what Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell wants. Meanwhile, interest rates have been at a 23-year high since last July. Wall Street keeps hoping the Feds will cut rates, but Powell's rightly promising nothing, which leaves the working and middle class squeezed and racking up more debt. Americans have already spent their pandemic savings while credit card balances soar. Meanwhile, job growth slowed last month, and the majority of jobs added were in government and healthcare, which is itself government-dominated. Private sector employment looks flat. The specter of stagflation looms heavy. By every metric, Bidenomics has miserably failed Americans. Prices are now up an average 20% over Inauguration Day. The president responded, or has he responded? Lie. Outright insists that you have the money to cover your soaring grocery bill and hope enough people believe him that he'll get voted for round number 2 in November. Gas prices may be up, but Joe Biden's gaslighting keeps getting cheaper. Did you see there's so many people coming out? And I got to give some outlets credit. They're actually asking these politicians, they're saying, oh, these tariffs on China are going to be great. They're going to be wonderful now that Biden's proposed them. And they're being asked, well, you seem to be very anti-tariff when it was Trump. What's changed? They pretty much had to admit that it was Trump. But this is Senator Mark Warner. They said, did you criticize Trump's tariffs when he put those on China? Warner said, I'm sure I probably took a shot, but we also realize that China is playing with a different set of rules. I think wait until you see China dump this number of cheap EVs into Germany and the European market, and let's see what the Germans do as well. One last article. Biden aides are worried about psychological torment as Hunter heads for trial. The president has expressed, I know when I go fast, I get tongue twisted. The president has expressed fear that his son may serve time in prison. We are out of time for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you to everybody who reached out. Oh, here's a comment from a viewer. Frankly, isn't the previous 23 million illegals enough incentive for Biden to shut the border? Thank you for everybody who joined us. I know we got a lot covered today. I went fast, but I can't thank you enough for being a part of it. And join us tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m. for 2 hours of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I look forward to it already, and we will see you bright and early. Have a great day, everyone.
The Big Fox website is here now. WYDCTV.com. Local and national news that keeps you informed and involved. WYDCTV.com. Today's weather, up to date and in your town. WYDCTV.com. Sports news, local events, and health stories that affect you. WYDCTV.com. The Big Fox website. Your news here now. WYDCTV.com.